love a good internet story over here, don't we? So it was only a matter of time until I spoke about this one. Myths, conspiracies and urban legends are some of my favourite topics to talk about, as you couldn't already tell. And the hoax that we're going to talk about today shows just how rapid these things can spread all over the internet. But I mean, if you've watched any single one of my videos, you already know this, but this is just another instance of this happening. It's just so interesting that someone can make up something so crazy and terrifying and it not even be real, but it still spreads and people genuinely still believe that this one is real. So this is the story of the This Man hoax, or also known as Have You Seen This Man? I thought today we could have a look at the origins of this hoax, how it spread, the different interpretations it sparked, and why people continued to believe in it even after it was debunked. So sit back, relax, and we'll just get straight into the topic. Also, side note, this is one of my favourite creepypasta internet horror stories. Even to this day, I find it so fascinating, so I'm so excited to talk about this one. So first, we need to reverse the clock a little bit, and we need to talk about when this first popped up on the internet. So the This Man hoax began all the way back in 2009 when a website that was called thisman.org appeared on the internet, just randomly was birthed. And this website claimed that thousands of people across the globe had been having dreams about a strange man, and this man would visit them in their dreams and he would just be there. He would be present. And this was the guy. He had thick, prominent eyebrows, he was bald, an unsettling, eerie looking smile, and just uncanny valley vibes, you know? I hate using that term, but it is kind of relevant. And this photo of the man's face is what everybody knows to this day. I don't even know if people know the origins of this and just sort of know the face, but I feel like everyone does. I feel like that's just me being a little bit naive. But according to the website as well, this story begins in 2006, and it actually starts with a psychiatrist from New York who had a female patient, and she would talk about this man that kept visiting her dreams. And this woman claimed that the man had never appeared in real life. He'd only appeared in her dreams. She'd never seen him, she'd never met the guy, he would just be there in her dreams. And the psychiatrist, who was, kind of wow, this is interesting, can you draw him for me? So the woman draws him, and yeah, that's the tale. And she leaves the drawing on his desk, and then another patient comes into the psychiatrist's office and says, "Hey, who's this guy?" And the psychiatrist is like, "I don't know, my patient drew him." And he goes, "Well, I've been dreaming of this man." And then the psychiatrist is like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And then this story gets posted online, and more people claim to have seen this mysterious man in their dreams, all of them claiming to have never met this guy. They have no idea who he is, but he just appears in their dreams. And this began happening all over the world. People from England, United States, Australia, to Japan and, Asia, China were beginning to recognise this man. Also, I just realised that Asia is Japan and China. Whoa, my geography's terrible. Some people claim that the man would just sort of be there, standing there, not doing anything. Others claim he would be of romantic interests, and others claim that he would be giving advice and comfort and he would be there for them, whereas others claim that he had a more menacing presence and would give them nightmares, and they would have this really unsettling, unnerved feeling when he was around. The idea to me that thousands of people have dreamed of the same person that they have never met in their entire lives, as a collective, humans have just conjured up this man in their mind and they're all dreaming about him, is terrifying. That is such an insane concept to me, but it's so clever. Obviously making it a perfect, foundation for a story to go viral online. Now, of course, the website itself provided sort of no concrete evidence surrounding the stories. For example, there was no official study or documentation or doctor's name, but it didn't matter. People ate this up. People were truly believing this tale. Whether it be because of, the creepiness of the sketch or the story that people were hooked on, this was enough to end up making it go viral. It ignited widespread curiosity and fear throughout the internet as a whole. And this hoax spread rapidly on the internet. It started off as just a website, and then it began to move to like 4chan, Facebook, Reddit, and people were talking about it and sharing it as if it was a real story. Some people who, you know, had just seen a photo of this man began to say, yes, I have also dreamed about this man, and people were adding to the story. And randomers that had, you know, no part in the tale began sharing the image of this man, claiming, hey, I have seen this guy, and sharing it as if it was like gospel. But this is actually a phenomenon. This is actually something that happens when hoaxes and hysteria happens, and this is called priming. And this occurs when a suggestion influences a person's mind and thoughts and can sort of mess with their perception and memory, and it can lead to them to believe that they have experienced something when they haven't. This, again, is pretty common when it comes to cases of mass hysteria. For example, you hurt your finger starts randomly hurting, and they're going, look, it started off as this, and then people are going, whoa, I feel that too. Now my finger's starting to hurt when really it's not, but they've just tricked themselves to think that it is. That's probably a really shitty, not annotation, that's a really crap example. That's not the word I'm looking for, but anyway. And at this point, people were trying to explain how on earth people had seen the same man in their dreams, claiming it to be from mass hysteria to something of the more eerie and supernatural occurrence. Some people threw out wild theories that he was like some sort of time traveller or dream traveller, and he had the power to like travel through people's subconsciouses and enter their dreams. Like, they would say that this man was like a genuine person and he had the power to like dream hop, if you will. Whereas others jumped on the more crazy side of things. Well, I mean, being a dream hopper is also pretty intense, but this one is even more intense because people claim that he was part of a government mind control experiment and he was, you know, meant to watch people's dreams for some reason. Whereas others were complaining that he was like a ghost or an alien or something, which is also pretty crazy. And as this story began to absolutely skyrocket, more people began to clock on to this tale of this man. Who was he? Where did he come from? And why is his face so eerie and terrifying still to this day? People began feeling genuine terror and fear whenever they came across a photo of this man. And some people began to claim that they began dreaming about him after the phenomenon began to go viral. And you know what? I'm surprised that us as a community have never given him a name. He is still just known as this man, which I think we can do a little bit better. I think we can do better as a whole. And other people were flat out refusing to look at the image of the guy because they didn't want him to be summoned into their subconscious unconsensually. The hysteria surrounding the this man controversy also kind of delves more into a psychological phenomenon which is known as the nocebo effect. I'm pretty sure we've spoken about the nocebo effect before, but I'll give you a, you know, it's the opposite of the placebo effect because people are starting to believe that something negative will happen to them if they encounter or look at a photo of this man, so their brain tricks them into actually experiencing it when they're not. So for example, as someone seeing just a sketch of this man, they believe that he's going to infiltrate their dreams, ruin their lives and know all of their thoughts, even though he's actually not real. Spoiler alert, he's not real. But you guys already knew that, didn't you? You knew that. You knew that. And of course, the nocebo effect was then magnified because the internet, you know, jumped on the bandwagon and all of people all over the world were claiming to have seen this man in their dreams when they probably hadn't. A bit of an echo chamber, if you will. The internet is an echo chamber. And the more people began to share their own experiences, the more credible the story was coming across without any proof or evidence. But I mean, how do you get proof or evidence for dreams? You don't. But despite to this day, people still genuinely believing the this man conspiracy theory or story, if you will, it's a hoax. It's not real. Allegedly, it's a hoax. It's not real. I mean, again, I'm not inside people's heads. I'm not inside dreams, so I don't know. But the majority of the internet believes that this man is a hoax. A fabrication, if you will. And this hoax had a mastermind behind it. It wasn't just made up by some people on the internet, no. This had an Italian sociologist behind it, and this was Andrea Natella. Natella is also a marketer and a founder of Grellier Marketing, a company that specialises in creating viral hoaxes and controversial media campaigns. So our friend Andrea knew exactly what they were doing, and this story was created as a social experiment and viral marketing stunt designed to explore how urban legends and misinformation spreads in the digital age. And well, they got us. They got us, and they got us pretty good. The whole thing was completely made up, from the story of the psychiatrist and the patient and the story and the man and the sketch. All fake. All a fabrication. The website itself was designed to be, freaky and vague and to leave people with this eerie feeling of emptiness and uncertainty. And of course, what did it do? The story ended up taking a life of its own, just as Andrea wanted. But again, even after the hoax was exposed, people didn't care. They still carried on with it because they believed it was real. Some people out there had truly believed that they had had dreams of this man, whether it be before the story broke or after. And some people began to dismiss the whole, mystery being solved as just a cover-up, and insisted that the website's creators were just trying to suppress a real supernatural occurrence. Which, I don't know, I definitely think this one is definitely a hoax. Whereas others rationalise their belief by arguing that even if the story was fake, the fact that so many had felt that they had genuinely dreamed of this man surely must have believed that there was some truth within this story, and that I can't argue with that. Of course, if that's what you believe and if that's how you feel, I'm not going to tell you how you feel. It's not hurting anybody, If it's not hurting anybody if they believe that they dreamed this man, who cares? But despite this whole, phenomenon being a hoax and it being just a complete and utter fabrication, it's had a pretty interesting impact on the internet as a whole, especially when it comes to myths and stories on the internet, because this story has inspired so many horror stories, creepypastas, movies, TV shows, psychological studies, and so much more. This story has also been referenced in so many different films and TV shows on its own, and the hoax has actually been used as an example of how suggestibility, priming, and mass hysteria can influence people's memories and experiences. And even to this day, people still share their experiences with the This Man hoax, whether they truly believe in the original story or not. And another thing I want to say, this face is still so common and popular in meme culture, especially when it comes to the really creepy Instagram reel memes. That kind of eeriness in memes, the face always, pops up and appears. I love it. I love it so much. But regardless, the case of this man is it's amazing. It's fantastic. It is such a good piece of horror internet media that still is, it's withstood the test of time. It is still so iconic. That furrowed brow and that bald head will always be remembered. Despite it being a hoax, this story took on a, life of its own. But it does go to show that how easily misinformation and fake stories can be spread on the internet and be taken as gospel. Despite this case being solved, the story lives on, especially through horror culture and internet culture today. And for that reason, the story of this man will go down as one of the best creepypastas. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. It's great, it's iconic. Yeah, it maybe doesn't uphold today, but there was a website, there was people actually, involved in telling their stories. It's just brilliant. Round of applause. Round of applause. Anyway, that is all the information I have on this video. If you enjoyed, please let me know. If you have any case requests, please leave them in the comments. Or if you have any stories that you'd like to share, or if you've ever dreamed of this man, let me know in the comments as I read every single comment. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to follow me on any of the social medias, the links are in the description down below. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. But if not, that's also cool. But yeah, until the next video, stay safe.